It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the UNCG Athletic Director, Kim Reckert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brandon. Thank you for inviting me.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about how you got started becoming an athletic director in the collegiate field?
Well, I didn't know that's what I would end up doing. Like so many students, I'm a first generation college student. I went to the University of Virginia, thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist, but realized that there's medical school and health and science, or science and math. Those aren't my things. So I majored in sociology and history and worked in the sports information, which what we call it now, strategic communications area, all 4 years, and just loved the intercollegiate athletics model.
Can you talk about where you got your start in college athletics?
As an undergraduate student at Virginia, and I worked press row. I wrote game program articles. I really did whatever I was asked to do as a student, and did internships, work study, um, a lot of volunteer hours.
Can you talk about some of your achievements at UNCG?
Since I got to UNCG in 2009, and it's been a blessing to work with so many great coaches and student athletes and administration that supports athletics. And I think that one, it's not about me. I'm surrounded by a great team that help support our student athletes every day. And academically, we continue to stay very strong. Our cumulative GPA is over a 3.2. Athletically, we have won more Southern Conference championships um, in the last 10 years. And then from a community service standpoint, which is very important, UNCG's motto is service. Our student athletes and coaches get out in the community and do a variety of things to improve the community.
That's so amazing. Can you talk about being one of 28 Under Armour athletic directors?
Well, anytime you're recognized or honored by your peers, it's very humbling and very rewarding. There are a lot of great athletic directors out there, so it was quite an honor.
Can you talk about your what it's like having Under Armour represent, of course, UNCG Athletics?
Well, we actually, when I got here, we did a contract with Under Armour because the contracts were all over the place for our sports. And I wanted to find a way to, and we have 17 sport teams. We have one administrative team, and there's the Spartan team. And what we found out, it was that it just made more sense financially to let sports do what they wanted to do. So we're not a total Under Armour school, but we do ensure that all of our student athletes have one or two items that are the same across the board for all students.
Can you talk about what you implemented as the Spartan Way and what that is?
Well, I wish I could take credit for coming up with it, but when I got here, um, people would talk about make sure that you do things the Spartan way. And as I looked to develop a strategic plan and find a way to bring our teams together. Um, the Spartan Way really talks about discovering and developing champions in life. And so coaches go out and discover great talent. And then you get to college and you develop them. And I feel the same way about staff, discovering young people who want to go into this business and then developing them. So that's really our purpose. And then, we use guiding principles, and we have some strategic priorities as well.
Can you talk about how many championships UNCG has in your 11 years being the athletic director?
Gosh, I said at the very beginning I wasn't a numbers person, so I don't know exactly how many we've won, and maybe I should. Championships are terrific. Graduating student athletes is sort of the number one priority. But I do know that in 2017 we won five in 1 year, and that was quite an accomplishment.
That's amazing. What was your time like at Florida State in the past 13 years?
Oh, I had it was a tremendous opportunity to work at Florida State with Dave Hart, the athletic director, and help build a comprehensive athletic program. Obviously, their football program under Coach Bowden and their baseball program under Coach Martin had been successful for a very long time. And part of our goal was to grow that comprehensively. And so I had the opportunity to work with the basketball teams. I hired the women's soccer coach who just won the ACC tournament again. They've won 2 national championships. So I still follow some of their programs. And I developed as an administrator by the responsibilities that I was given while I was down there.
Can you talk about some of the state-of-the-art facilities that you implemented at UNCG?
Well, we've done a number of different facility projects, but the ones that were most recent and affect all of our student athletes is our Academic Success Center, which is essentially where our student athletes can come for study hall. Their group study rooms, there's a classroom that we can use in there, and we really hadn't had the space to accomplish that. We use all of the services on campus, so it's not separate but equal. But this is sort of the main cog of our student athlete hub on the first floor of Coleman. And then we recently completed the Bodford Family Speed Strength and Conditioning Center, which basically totally was a redo of what we had, and we added a second floor, new weights, nutrition, fueling station for our student athletes. So those are the 2 most recent that I'm very proud of.
What was some of the state-of-the-art facilities at Florida State that you built?
Well, again, let me think. We built a soccer and softball, women's soccer and women's softball facility, and one of the unique components to that is the way that it was situated is that we had all of the common amenities in the middle, so you could use amenities for both concessions, restrooms, things like that. And there were a number of, well, one that people would probably be surprised at is that when I got there in 1995, they'd won two national championships, and the locker room was like a high school locker room. Not that that's the most important thing, but that one was one of the first priorities, was to upgrade some of the facilities for recruiting purposes.
That's amazing. What have you learned now that you didn't know beforehand becoming an athletic director?
Well, I think you have to have a real passion for students and wanting to make a difference in their lives. You have to have a very thick skin. People like to tell you how to do your job, and uh, part of being in athletics is sometimes you have to make very hard decisions. But at the end of the day, um, I get to work with terrific young people who are going to go on and do great things with their lives, and that's a pretty cool thing to do.
That's amazing. What advice would you give upcoming young athletic directors looking to get into the industry?
I think uh, patience, persistence, active listening, listen more than you talk, um, and recognize that, whether it's a student or a staff member, or that everybody processes information differently, and, not to be so quick to be judgmental.
That's wonderful advice to help young athletic directors. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the UNCG program?
Our social media, mine is at UNCG AD. Um, that's my Twitter. I think UNCGSpartans.com is our athletic department website, and you can get all of the social media on there as well.
Thank you again, Kim, for your interview, and best of luck as the athletic director for UNCG.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brandon. You have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Kim, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.